Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something truly unprecedented. A wild moment where the intense, high-stakes world of international football just collided head-on with the absolute highest levels of global politics. We're talking about the stunning reversal of a US player's World Cup suspension. It's a decision that's basically sent shockwaves through the entire tournament, leaving fans, officials, and political commentators absolutely scrambling to make sense of it all. I mean, how exactly does a red card on the pitch suddenly find its way to the resolute desk in the Oval Office? Well, let's find out.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Right off the bat, we're seeing a really stark contrast in reactions. On one side, the US men's national team simply accepted the decision. And, understandably, they're pretty pleased that their star player is eligible to compete again. But then, you look at the Royal Belgian Football Association, who happens to be the team the US is facing next in a massive round of 16 match, and they describe themselves as absolutely astonished by FIFA's decision. This isn't just your standard, run-of-the-mill pregame banter, right? This is genuine institutional shock. It kind of immediately hooks us into the reality that something completely outside the norm of standard football governments just happened here.
Moving on to Part 1, a highly unusual reversal. White House correspondents, like Reuters' Trevor Honeycutt, who actively tracks executive actions, are calling this reversal highly unusual. And when you look at the timeline, it's pretty obvious why. In the heavily regulated world of FIFA, where referee decisions are fiercely protected to maintain the game's integrity, a reversal of this magnitude is just incredibly rare. So here's how it went down. Last week, Florin Balogun, who is a critical asset and the top goal scorer for the US squad, gets a red card against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Standard rules say that's an automatic suspension. Boom, he's out. But then, earlier this week, reports surfaced that US President Donald Trump personally called FIFA President Gianni Infantino. And suddenly, by Monday, Balogun is officially declared eligible to play against Belgium. It's the sheer speed of this whole thing, from the infraction to the executive phone call to a complete reinstatement, that makes this sequence of events so staggering.
Now let's shift into Part 2, the presidential intervention.
So now, we're no longer just talking about referees and rulebooks, we are literally talking about geopolitical influence and direct presidential action. And to understand this intervention, we don't even have to rely on rumors because we have the public record. President Trump took directly to Truth Social, posting, quote, "Thank you to FIFA for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice, President Donald J. Trump," end quote. By putting that out there publicly, the president officially established his role in this whole narrative. And according to sources speaking to Reuters, during that phone call earlier in the week, the president actually explicitly urged Infantino to reconsider the suspension, making his deep displeasure with the red card incredibly clear.
But it is absolutely crucial that we maintain our analytical focus here. As Reuters correspondent Trevor Honeycutt points out, it is formally unclear if there's a direct causal connection between that specific call and FIFA's decision. That's a vital distinction. Officially, it remains unconfirmed. However, while the official connection might be unclear, the undeniable sequence of events raises some massive concerns about appearances. Think about it. When the leader of the host nation calls the head of the global sporting body, and then that sporting body immediately reverses a penalty against the host nation's team, well, the optics alone cast a really heavy geopolitical shadow right over the pitch.
Let's zoom out for Part 3, courting the Oval Office. You have to ask, how did a relationship form where a sitting US president feels totally comfortable calling the head of global football to discuss a red card? Well, the singular phone call didn't just happen in a vacuum. It's actually the result of a deliberate, year-long diplomatic campaign by Gianni Infantino. White House reporters have been noting these frequent, somewhat unexpected Oval Office visits by Infantino, who usually arrives bearing gifts. We even saw Infantino inaugurate a brand new FIFA Peace Prize, which he personally awarded to Donald Trump at the Kennedy Center. And there's been this very consistent, strategic effort to cultivate the president's interest by continually reminding him how hosting this massive tournament elevates the United States' standing on the global stage. Infantino recognized pretty early on that if he wanted the smooth operation of a World Cup on US soil, he absolutely needed the enthusiastic backing of the Oval Office, and he systematically went to work securing it.
And all of this diplomatic groundwork actually ties back to one incredibly significant number, 250. This World Cup aligns perfectly with the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That is a monumental milestone for the United States, and President Trump is acutely aware of it. He views the global spectacle of the World Cup not just as a sporting event, but as a critical messaging tool. He's using this tournament, happening right alongside this massive 250th anniversary celebration, to send a powerful message to both the domestic audience and the entire world about the country's prestige and power. The success of the US team is deeply intertwined with national pride on a historic anniversary.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 4, when sports meet politics.
While the US team might be thrilled right now, if we take a step back, it reveals a much more complicated global picture. Up until this exact moment, despite some early gripes about tournament size and, high ticket prices, the actual event has enjoyed a remarkably positive atmosphere. People all over the globe have been praising it as a truly excellent World Cup. But introducing direct, high-level political intervention back into the sports arena, that brings a severe risk of tainting the whole event. The purity of the competition is suddenly being called into question. Fans are understandably left wondering, do the rules apply equally to everyone? Or does the host nation just have a special VIP hotline straight to the referee's whistle?
The immediate fallout from all this leaves us juggling several conflicting realities. First off, President Trump is perfectly comfortable with the move. He clearly considers it correcting a sporting injustice. But second, not all fans or participating countries want to see a politicized tournament. Just remember Belgium's astonished reaction from earlier. Third, this sets a really fascinating stage for the future. There are growing expectations that the president will likely attend upcoming major matches, maybe even the final, firmly injecting that presidential spotlight directly into the stadium. And finally, the White House strategy moving forward seems to be absolute silence beyond those initial public comments. Reporters expect the administration to just let the results speak for itself and stay quiet, unless, of course, future decisions happen to go against the US team.
So, we are ultimately left with a huge question. Does this political move permanently taint the arena of sports? We've just watched a single red card completely rewrite the rules of engagement, and it brilliantly illustrates what happens when the soft power of sports collides with the hard power of global politics. As you watch the rest of this tournament unfold, definitely keep this dynamic in the back of your mind. Is this just a wild, unique anomaly, or have we literally just watched a fundamental shift in how the beautiful game is governed? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and we'll see you next time as we continue to break down the complexities of our world.